Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the East to West Hunts podcast. Today, I got a friend of the show here, Mr. Jacob Albaugh from Primal Faith. He's becoming a regular on this show, so I think I'm going to need feedback from you guys on how you like him on here, because he's frequenting quite often. Jacob, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Good. Yep.
Good. This is going to be a fun one. I think we're going to talk gear, and the way that I wanted to put this together was in the focus of doing an archery elk hunt and the gear that's needed. And as we were talking, you kind of piqued my interest when we were kind of framing up a discussion. So this is kind of where this came from, was having 3 different styles of hunts. And you mentioned kind of a base camp, backcountry hunt, or like a hybrid. And I was like, I love that. I think that's great. But with that, you need some changes that could be beneficial or maybe not, or whatever the case is. So I'll frame it up. You got something going on here for archery elk that we're really kind of catering this to. So take it away with, what you got going on your end.
Yeah. So we're doing Primal Faith is doing an archery elk hunt in the state of Utah, and we will be hosting a base camp for everybody, like a central location for everybody to come into. And in preparation for that, we're taking about 7 months. We're doing a monthly training on the first Saturday of every month to get people. I'm from Ohio, so it's all local people, Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Michigan area that's coming into this. I think we're going to end up right now we're around 40 some guys that are going on this trip. So yeah. But yeah, we're doing a base camp, and I would say we have more on the newbie side for sure, that have never, like, in I would say 75%, 80% of them have never been out west. And then I would say only a couple of them have ever Western hunted before. And we're not really training them. They're more kind of helping us a little bit as well. But for the newbies, one of the things that I'm working on is, like, I'm presenting them kind of 3 different tactics, I would say, in preparations, and what's their want out of the hunt, because you get 3 different experiences with all 3 of them as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have what I'm calling the backcountry. I call it like expedition. Like, hey, I'm leaving the truck. I don't plan on being back for quite a while. In terms of days, no less than 3. I'm saying hybrid, like any of the expeditions, definitely over 3, and pushing up to that 7-8 day mark. Like, that would be what I consider country hunting.
Okay.
And then I'm kind of giving like the hybrid, and the hunt that we're doing, I told them, like, this is kind of what I would do. It's not really a unit that's beneficial to the 8 day. If you want the 8 day experience, you sure can. Just think that the gains of doing that, the cons outweigh the pros for this place. There's a couple places that I could argue differently, but very few. So, and then we have like a day hunt mode, where we're going to run out of base camp, run side by sides up the trailheads, use horses, etc. We'll have some horses there to help guys. But they'll come back and spend every night down at that general location, and we're right at the base of the mountain for that. That's kind of that's the 3 options. And I was talking to you, it's just like, hey, like, I think those 3 things require 3 different levels of gear.
Yeah.
So not only like an experience and confidence level, it requires 3 different levels of budgets. I think day hunting can require a lesser budget, just less at stake. You get into the hybrid, you start to have to spend a little bit of money. You have to have a nice lightweight 2-person tent, 3-person tent, whatever, 1 person, whatever you're going to do. You're getting to the expeditions now. Everything's got to be pretty good, just because to keep the weight down. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's cool what you're doing and getting a lot of folks involved in Western hunting. It's, as we all know, it's addictive, right? I think hunting in general is addictive because you enjoy the outdoors. But let's frame it up, right? Let's start cooking with a backcountry hunt. So you're carrying everything on your pack, right? We've done these hunts ourselves.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, let's kind of go through some of the bigger items here and like what you're really kind of looking at. So if we're talking,
I don't want to interrupt here, but what's your thoughts on flipping it from the other way?
Totally fine. Yeah.
Like,
so let's,
because I just think it works easier for me. Is like, hey, you need this items here for day hunt. and
Yep.
now I want to go to expedition, you're going to need to add this, 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 and this to do a hybrid. And to go to expedition, you're going to have to add this, 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 and this.
Yeah, totally fine. Let me re-queue that. All right. Well, let's start talking about these in different levels. Let's start from, the main wall tent. Maybe you call it a base camp. Gosh, yeah, I've even done it out of hotels, right? But this might be your short day hunt. You're gonna need. Would you say you need less gear?
Yeah, I would say you need less gear for sure. I just think that, well, in terms of base camp, let's see, if we're talking about just what we're carrying, that's a different topic. But when you're at a base camp, you can buy those. I mean, we're going early, right? We're in late August, early September archery hunt. Weather's going to be pretty fair. You don't need a big wall tent, 4-season tent. You can go get an $80 Walmart clearance tent, Ozark Trail, set it up at base camp. I think it would suffice. My first 3 years we went archery elk hunting, that's what we used. This last year, it blew down on us, but
So are you thinking like, and again, for viewers and listeners, right, you can have a base camp and it could be off of the road, right? And it doesn't have to be a wall tent. That's kind of what you're referencing, right? It doesn't have to be like this big glamorous thing. It could just be a tent
yeah,
off the
just
road
like
and that's your base camp.
you walk through Cabela's and Walmart, wherever you see those cheap tents. Like I think you can pull this hunt off when you're doing archery. I think the barrier to entry with an early season archery hunt is a little bit less. Wall tents are obviously nice. But they're heavy, and so it depends on how far you're getting off the road. So yeah, but as far as like actual gear, like when you leave the truck every day, I think
Okay.
I think the day hunt mode, it's going to require less gear for sure.
So let's kind of walk through that, right? If you're doing it, right, you're doing this base camp hunt. What are your like must-have items that you have to have for your hunt? And then kind of frame it up where like, okay, now I'm leaving camp. What's in my pack?
Yeah, can I go straight to the what's in my pack,
Yeah, go.
or
Yeah.
you're saying it's leaving from the house?
No. I'm saying like you're at camp, right? So you just talked about.
Yeah.
I'm just curious how you look at
Uh,
this, right? So you got
okay,
your base camp, you got
I
your
see.
tent, whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
Because for me, like base camp could be a wall tent, it could be a hotel, it could be a camper, it could be a
yeah. Okay.
rollout cot, right? But it just means like I'm not taking that stuff with me anywhere, and I'm showing back up to it every day,
Yeah. Yeah. Amen.
right? So
So when I leave base camp, I think the items that I will take from base camp in the truck that I won't take once departing would be the following: a bigger spotty scope, a heavier tripod, just in case we could find some areas that we can glass from the road. That's not something that I'm going to carry around with me. I'm going to carry, some food. Like always, like have some extra food, like just some snacks that are just, not backcountry food, like, some bags of Cheez-Its and trail mix and beef jerky and something to just if you have a crusher of a day and you have a long day and you get back at 1 a.m. because you put one down.
mhm.
That's the type of things I have there. Definitely some water in case you end up spending all day waterless. Other than that, I don't know that there would be too much more that I would carry there. Besides, I'd probably try like to have some ice and coolers just in case if we're out. But other than that, I don't think the truck would need to be too much.
How far do you go on a day hunt?
Oh, I think this is a little bit of a learning curve for me because I haven't really day hunted. I've never set out to day hunt, for the most part. But I would say, all within an hour drive.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say I think after that, if you're traveling more than an hour, either A, your base camp is too far, or B, you need to be hybrid hunting it because you're burning too much time of the day up
Hmm.
that you should be sleeping. Like I don't want to be driving an hour and a half in the morning and an hour and a half at night after, and then try to put a 14-hour day, 16-hour day. Oh, that'll kind of it won't work out. For one day, it might work, but to stack
Right.
seven of those in a row, you won't survive it.
No, I hear that, and I would agree with you because I like sleep is just so vital, and then if you're just running around, waking up super early and all that, and you're losing it, it does suck the life out of you.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest con with day hunting. And I think archery season, it's harder to make it make sense because the days are so long. There's not that much darkness. Now, when you get into that late October, early November rifle season, the nights are so long, it gives you it starts to teeter over the edge to where day hunts are a little less taxing on the sleep system, in my opinion.
So in reference to your base camp style hunt, like, do you have any changes to like your clothing or your boots, or do you get away with a different pack? Like, where's your thought process there?
Attention hunters, are you sick and tired of the complicated draw systems and tag applications that take place out west? Or maybe you want to plan a western hunt, or maybe one of your dream hunts, and you don't really even know where to start. Well, that's where East to West Hunts comes in. We take care of everything for you. We'll do the tag applications. We just need to put a strategy in play for you of what you're trying to do and when you're trying to go. Whether it's short term, mid-term, or long term, we want to have that play and that strategy together. And when you do draw a tag, we can look at do-it-yourself options such as hunt plans that detail out exactly how to hunt those areas, or we can get you booked with a guide and outfitter in that specific unit or area. So don't leave that hunt to chance. Give us a call, set up a time on the website, contact us on social media, whatever it is, and let's get planning towards that dream hunt of yours. And let's make it a reality. Check us out on www.east2westhunts.com. Again, that is www.east2westhunts.com. Also check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and podcast. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
Because I heard a little bit about like budget playing in a factor, and I'm curious if you change anything in that respect.
Personally, I don't think mine changes too much, but I think day hunting, you could get away with a lot less. That makes any sense? Like, you can get a little wet in the morning with some cheaper clothes that won't dry out or might not keep you super warm on this early of a hunt when you're day hunting, because you're going to be able to get out of there. You're not going to have to spend that cold night. Like, if you start to get cold, when it starts to get cold and dark, you just start hiking and then you're at a truck.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the dollar value of the gear, whereas if you're trying to stay the night, that gear needs to be able to keep you warm throughout the night. So I do think there's a dollar value that can kind of teeter in there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, as far as day hunts for myself, I feel like I can get away with any kind of pack, nothing crazy. I can always go back to the truck and get a frame pack if I get something down.
Yeah.
Those were like immediate things. I think
a day hunt, you can almost get away with a book bag.
Yeah. It's like
it wouldn't even need to be a hiking bag. Yeah, you can get away with a book bag almost.
It's almost like my whitetail stuff that I take to the stand, or with my saddle. Like I take like the Venture, I think it's like the 1800 Kuiu pack. That's like, pretty simple.
A little bit of food, a little bit of water, kill kit, emergency kit,
hydro bladder or my smart water bottle. And I always take some kind of filter of water stuff. My, what is it? The platypus filtration thing, or my Catadine height, or whatever it is. Cause I run out of water, especially if I don't want to pack it. And that's like an important one for me.
Absolutely.
So, okay. The other one too, just depending on where you're at, like, do your sleeping arrangements kind of change depending on what you're doing? Like, would you get away with, or do you take a different bag? Do you take a different pad and stuff like that if you're just like not in a moving around scenario?
I think that would start to get more towards the expedition versus like hybrid. Hybrid, I would want to be light, cover miles. Expedition's more like set a spike camp up type thing.
Okay.
And I think you can carry a little bit heavier bag that might be a little comfier, a little bit heavier pad that might be a little comfier, because it's going to be carry it, set it, leave it.
Mm-hmm.
More of a spike tip set. But on the hybrid hunt, I would want to be a little more agile. I think weight starts to get into play a fact. Like, to be lethal in the hybrid style, I think light and fast is kind of that answer early season, because you just got to find them and then you got to move and get in front of them. You're not hunting like rifle season. You're kind of hunting them from afar. Archery, you got to get in close. You got to get in quiet. So your pack being lighter will make you a little more quiet.
So do you feel good as far as like in summary of your your base camp, your mainstay camp, and now kind of if you segue, you go into hybrid. Like, what do you change in the hybrid hunt?
On a hybrid hunt, I gotta add 3 things in my opinion, or 4 things. I gotta add another. When I day hunt, you could front load your calories in the morning, take some snacks, leave your dinner back at the truck, so
Okay.
you only have to have like a midday snack. When you go into that hybrid, you got to start planning that you have to take like 2 full days worth of food with you. And you can stretch 2 full days if you like front load a bunch of calories right before you leave the truck in the morning to like that 3rd morning,
Yeah.
like 2 nights, 3 mornings, like type of thing to get, and then you need to be coming out of there. I just think like the hybrid for me works so well because if you think about the weight penalty of that, if you have decent, lightweight bags, pads, and tents, you're only, the entire system's what, 6 pounds, 7 pounds?
What are you including in the 6 pounds?
Our Golly tent
Okay.
is what I run. It's like 17 ounces for a 2P tent. You don't need a pole. You just need a trekking pole, no liner.
Okay, so you got a tent. What else are you including there?
Sleeping bag and sleeping pad.
Okay.
Like a 30-degree lightweight bag would be the move for this hunt, I think. Yeah, so you're throwing a 6 pounds in to go spend multiple days, and you got 4 pounds of food.
Are you sharing your tent with anybody or no?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of curious, because I know some guys like to split stuff and some people don't. So just
well, I mean, with the 2-person, you can't really because there's not anything to it. But it's a tarp, that Argoli 2P that I carry. You can hand some people some steaks, but it's usually such a mute point that the whole thing's only like 2.5 pounds. Yeah. So if you're in a small group, 1 or 2 people, yeah, I'm just adding a tent, sleeping bag, and 2 to 3 days of food. And then I guess there is one. I think the puffy situation would be the other thing that kind of starts to change. Whereas if we go back to the day hunt mode, like I'm just wearing my base layers, some sort of active insulation, be it a fleece or some sort of newer hybrid stuff. Probably like for me, I'm running any type of base layer. Don't really care what base layer it is. Light, dries fast. I'm going to be running a Wrangler fleece from Amazon. Love the things, and that's probably what I'm going to hunt in. And I'm going to carry a puffy and a rain jacket, and my pants are going to be pants, and that's all I'll bring for the pants side of things. When I get into the hybrid hunt, I think that puffy's quality starts to be a little more important. I think you can get away with any puffy. I think you can go to Elder Beerman or anything, Amazon, buy a $50 puffy. It could be whatever for a day hunt, and you'll be just fine. You get into that hybrid style, I think any decent down puffy will be sufficient in August. Doesn't have to be super warm because I think if you pair a rain jacket and a puffy together, it's gonna be hard to get cold in that weather.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, any other changes there that would be different for your hybrid hunt?
No, except for I might bring a little more because like on the day hunt, I'm gonna bring like tabs and a grail.
Okay,
that's my water purification. I might, depending on where we're at, I might bring a syringe and maybe another type of filter. Probably not. It seems where I seem to cut weight when I probably shouldn't. But yeah, at that point, I'm going to throw in maybe another filter.
Okay.
Oh, I can get some if we end up like having to get water out of seeps and stuff like that. August can be pretty dry, so or September can be pretty dry, so might get a syringe and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. And then now you jump into your expedition deal. What's the changeover there for you?
At this point, I'm starting to focus a little more on comfort, right? Especially if I'm doing like a mobile 7-day hunt. That's where everything gets tough because you got to be lightweight, but you need to have some comfort there items to make it because you don't want, 7 to 8 days, like you want to have a little bit of, you have to sleep good if you're putting on that many miles. You need a good place. You need a little bit better, a comfortable pad, whatever that is for you. For me, that's a weight penalty. I run the Thermarest Neo Air as my light and fast pad, but I like the, oh boy, here we go. Big Agnes Repeat.
Oh yeah,
I said that right. That's my favorite pad. It's so much more comfortable.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm a side sleeper. So I taught myself last year how to sleep on my back before my hunt. And as soon as I got hunting, about an hour into the night, I'd be on my side. So yeah, that repeat is a comfort thing. But if I'm light and fast, I'm just taking that. So that's where I'm starting to change my pad out a little bit to where I'm. But for that, the long expedition hunt, if I'm just going to run in, hey, we're going in 5 miles and dropping stuff, and then we're gonna day hunt from there. I'm going to carry some luxury items. I'm going to carry maybe a little bit comfier sleeping bag, a little bit better pad, maybe a little bit bigger puffy. My boots, I do think will change.
Okay. How so?
I just think you're day hunting, you can get away with anything because if you make the wrong mistake, you can fix it tomorrow. And you can just wear 2 different pairs of shoes. Like you can have 2 different pairs of boots and swap them every day, and you won't get hot spots. You're doing 7 to 8 days, you better have a good pair of boots, whatever it is. So at that point, I would be running Track Mountain Extremes. That's just what I run. Where the day hunt and hybrid, I might be running something more like a Crispy Bricksdale or Zamberlin Ultra Light or something like that. And then if you're day hunting, man, you can get away with. I've been seeing the new trend to go to them like trail running shoes. I'm not behind it. My ankles won't take it, but
yeah. I have too. Dude, I've seen people day hunting in like Hey Dudes. So
I get behind that.
Just kind of just get out there, but I just think about all the crap that gets into them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the
it.
expedition hunt starts to really add up you need to start to have a little bit more money involved. So it gets a little bit more expensive because your gear needs to be a little more dialed. I'd say your base, I think like day hunting, you can wear a cotton t-shirt and survive. Like you'll be okay. And like I could go to Goodwill right now and for a day hunt or even a hybrid hunt maybe. And I think I could buy almost every single piece of clothing I needed there. Like get really close. I think you could do an entire outfit for less than $120, like for a day hunt. I think you get the hybrid, it goes up. And then when you get into that expedition, now you need to start, in my opinion, start having some base layers that, move moisture well, puffies that'll hold up, pants that'll hold up and aren't stretching and falling off your butt because they're not holding up. Just stuff like that. And then obviously food, right? Packs get heavy because you do 8 days of food. That's minimum 16 pounds. If you're doing 2 pounds, I like to carry like 3,200 calories. So I'm a little over 2 pounds ish, roughly, usually. Heavier sleeping bag, and then
what do you foresee your pack kind of weigh on those? Like, let's say you did a 5-day hunt, so you got what 10, maybe 12 pounds of food kind of realm. Like, where do you see your pack weight kind of playing out there for that hunt?
Man, I'd have to go back and look. I remember last year I was pretty excited because I was doing like 2 to 3 day hunts, no food, and I think my pack weight was only like 26 pounds or something like that all in. And that's pretty light.
That's very light.
Especially when you're running. I have a Kafari bag. And so our bags aren't light to start. It's a pretty heavy frame and bag in itself. So
that included food and water at 26 pounds?
No food.
Oh, okay. No food. Okay.
That was my archery hybrid setup. It was like 26 pounds. And if I was going 3 days, I had 6 pounds to that. No water. I'm
about to say, man, like that's dark because I was doing like overnight trips with like an ultralight pack for some of my backcountry just like hikes, and I was at like 20 pounds, but that included water and it included my food.
Yeah,
so I was like, man,
no food, no water, because that's such a variable, right?
Yeah,
like a hybrid setup for 4 days is 8 pounds, and hybrid setup for 2 days is 4 pounds, and like I don't ever do water. I just think of that afterwards. I'm like, because I can't really control that. I can't change that. I need a certain amount of water. I need a certain amount of food. There is no way around it. There's no way to, upgrade gear or learn a new skill or anything around it. You just have to take calories and you have to take food. So, I think around that 26 for a hybrid setup, and then a heck a day hunt. What do you need?
So, what
20 pounds?
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's some. I think some things are just based on like your comfort too. Like
absolutely.
You mentioned in your day hunt mode, like you would take a spotter.
Yeah.
Where like some people might not. They only take binoculars, and they take like tiny binoculars. So
yeah.
I think that's a preference of how far you want to see or what your style of hunt is too. Because some guys are going to be like, you're driving your truck, you're stopping your glassing, where some people are like, I'm not going to glass until I get to X point after I get out of the truck. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like totally
I-
personal preference.
I won't. So this is what I would never carry a spotter. Let me rephrase. Until I draw a really coveted tag and I'm trying to pick like a 350 bull versus a 380 bull, I'm not going to carry a spotter unless I'm doing an expedition.
Okay.
And like I'm getting 5 miles away from the road. I carry SIG Zulu 6s with image stabilization and the 16X. And I mean, if I'm archery hunting, I have to get pretty close anyways. And anything, sub 1,000 yards, I can tell really well what it is with those. And I've spot elk up to, like I shot a cow last year. I spotted her from 3.5 miles with those binos.
That's far.
So yeah, so I don't foresee, in my opinion, with my setup with the SIGs, they have their downfalls. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they're not perfect.
They're not perfect, but for elk hunting, they fit in that step.
But were you, let's play out that scenario real quick. Were you like in the truck or like near the truck when you saw that? Or were you like hiking out into a position when you saw the elk?
No. So in a certain state, I found area where I thought there was elk on this western mountain range. I just looked at some roads and found this is a bad road to get up. Not really truck worthy, but you could drive up on this mountain range and you started glassing at 2 miles. Like the front of that range was 2 miles away and you could look all the way up to about 7 or 8 you could, instead of picking one, because there's about 8 canyons to pick from. Well, you could ridge run across this other mountain and clear all 8 before diving. So I went over there and glassed the evening before, because we drove about 4 hours. We were in one area and then spent all day driving because we didn't like the area. Went down there that night, the day before opener, and found the elk. And then we got up really, really early and hiked in. And we were going to hybrid hunt it. I ended up shooting one in the first 4 hours I was there. So
worked out.
Yeah. Can I take a break real quick?
Yeah. No, you're good, man.
Hey, she needs to do something. One bird.
Upper. All right, so let's kind of think about you got this group, right? A lot of folks going out. What do you kind of see as far as like budget versus premium gear? Like, do you have recommendations right now of like where people should spend versus where they should save for a hunt like this?
Absolutely. I think I do. I think especially if they're going to repeat this, if they're ever going to go again, buy a good pack, good boots. That's the very first things. Like if you give me, including equipment to kill, like to harvest the animal, if you're excluding archery equipment, just like pack and gear and all that stuff, if you give me $1,200 to spend, and that's a big number. Like that's you can get a really pretty good setup for that. But like, let's just say you give me $1,200 to spend. I'm spending 1,000 of it on boot and pack, or 900 of it on boots and pack.
Okay.
Just maybe I'm scouting for deals for good stuff, but I'm buying no less than $300 boots.
Okay.
And I'm buying probably a secondhand top of the line pack.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get one of them Kafaru Initial Ascents, whatever you think, Stone Glacier, some of those packs. Actually, I would probably get a Kafaru or Initial Ascent. That's my 2 favorite packs on the market right now. I really, really, really like the Initial Ascent stuff. I'm pretty deep into Kafaru right now, like the amount of packs and stuff that I've done. But those guys over at Initial Ascent are really, really good men and good Christian men. So I'm looking to switch over. But yeah, I would spend a good chunk of money if I could find one used. If I could figure out a deal online or get a group coupon code or something, I'd be scavenging for a good pack. If I didn't want to spend that kind of money and I wanted to bring it down, I'd run like a Mystery Ranch pack or something like that, and you'd be just fine. I've got a good pack pretty early, and I don't want to leave it because I'd like to take as few trips as possible. It's not for the pre-hunt. I just like when I kill one, I want to be able to put 130 pounds on my back and hike out with it. And I think when you get like if you do that with a Mystery Ranch, you might end up with a broken pack. I don't think there's very many packs that can handle that load.
Yeah, no. I'll be the first one to add, though, I would never be doing that amount of weight. I know you are full capable because you've done it. I have no interest in that. Like if I'm at 80 pounds, I'm as happy as a clam. Yeah. And I will gladly walk again to go get another load.
Yeah, that's a very personal thing. That's where if you're that way, I think a Mystery Ranch pack is as capable as what you are.
Yeah.
As like, and so I'm trying to help these guys out a little bit. Like hey man, if you're not going to put 100+ pounds on your back, the mystery ranch will work all day long. And it's lighter. It's not as strongly built, so it's got less material to it. It's lighter. It's a great pack. They're like stuff like that, like some of those different brands in that kind of tier, I would say. They're good. But like, we one tripped a bull off the mountain this year.
Yeah.
I had two or 3 days worth of gear with me. I didn't have food because I forgot it. But we one tripped the bull off. My pack was over 145 pounds.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. It's crazy.
I had a scale, and it goes to 130 pounds. I picked it up, and it was just error, and it was extremely heavy. And if I wouldn't have had a good pack, I would have been a bad spot because I would have had to come back up in there. And there's a big storm coming. So yeah, pack and boots.
I love it.
That's where I'm spending my money.
Where would you save money?
Clothes. Yeah, clothes.
I highly agree with what you just said.
Yeah.
Where do you see the most spend, I guess, when it comes to clothes that maybe isn't necessary?
Okay. And I say that two-handedly because base layers are critically important.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, a base layer isn't there to provide warmth. It's to do one thing, and that's to manage moisture.
How much are you saving there though? Like are guys buying 5 pairs of base layers or something? Because I'm like,
no. I guess not in that realm. No, absolutely not. I just think you could buy, like, instead of $130 pair of base layers, and that's really not that much dollar savings, but it's somewhere that I would be just fine carrying anything, like any piece of clothing I had in my closet from back when I played sports. Anything that I can take it off, I can hang it up, and it dries in 10 minutes. That's what I want. When I get to the top of the mountain and I'm sweaty, that's what I want. This shirt right here, it dry fit. I would be just fine taking this as a base layer and go hunt elk in August. Yeah, just any type of dry fit is okay. I think late season it becomes more critical because it has to be really, really good to keep you from freezing. But the other thing is pants. I think there's some really, really cheap options out there that are really good. And I have a closet full.
Let me guess, some Wrangler ATGs.
Wrangler ATG.
It's everybody's go-to pair that's like $25 at Walmart.
$25 at Walmart, and I have a closet full of Sitka, and you bet I'll probably be wearing Wrangler ATGs on this hunt this year that we're going on.
It's so funny because I have the same. I mean, you name it. If you go down into my my hunting room, I got pants galore, and the 2 pairs that I have probably 4 Wrangler ATGs, and then I have like 4 Eddie Bauer Guide Pros, and then I have a lined pro pair. And like, I couldn't tell you the last time I hunted in a different pant.
Hunting brand? Yeah.
Like, and I even with my camo stuff, I was actually talking to somebody else about this because I have like, I don't know, I just like to play around and see different brands, so I'll just buy the whole thing and then play with it, and then I'll resell stuff and whatever the case is. But like, I got the full Kings line. I didn't even buy any pants from them besides their down puffy. Yes. And I've always had the same rain gear from Kuiu that I've had for a long time now. I refuse to just. There's no need. But to that point, like the pants, there's nothing there besides those, and they work fantastic. So it's like you don't need to spend $130 on a pair of pants.
The only thing you're getting is, in my opinion, pockets. And like, if you get the right ones, ATGs have decent pockets.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I still have. They got the cargo pockets, so you got 2 zips on the sides, you got 2 main pockets, and you got the 2 back pockets. The only thing is you don't have, like, on the back pockets they got Velcro versus zippers. Yeah.
Like the only thing where I start to really like hunting pants is like I am a big fan of the Sitka Timberlines because they've got like 23 pockets.
Yeah, but that's also like that's a heavy duty pant.
That's a late season pant. Yeah.
Well, that's another ball game.
But when you're doing expedition late season, those pants are hard to beat. So yeah, I think you can. I mean, I'm wearing Wrangler ATG pants right now, and
love it.
Dry fit, and I think I could go to the mountains like this, like in this exact colors and everything, and go in an early season. I think people like to get overwhelmed, and that's kind of what we're wanting to do with our group is not like break that down for people to like, hey, you don't have to go spend when you get on Sitka's website and they got $130 base layer and a active insulation's $300 and a puffy's $400 and a rain jacket's $400. Man, you just spent $1,200 in tops. Whereas you could take a Primal Faith t-shirt and wear it while you're hunting for $15, and a Wrangler fleece for $26, and some sort of rain jacket off Amazon and you're less than, $250 for the entire, $200 for the entire set. Well, probably less than $150, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I've said that as far as I get where you're going with the base layers. I was kind of confused at first, but that makes sense. I mean, you can get base layers that are like pant base layers pretty cheap. And I use Under Armour shirts a lot of times as my
exactly
base t-shirt or whatever the case is.
They don't have to be camo either. That's a big. The camo
Right.
thing's a big, like, you don't need hunting brand stuff for this. Like, figure out what materials they're using in the hunting brand stuff, and then go cross-reference it to any hiking brand or something like that, and you can save some money. Like, maybe that doesn't support the hunting community and their hunting clothes, but it'll get men out in the mountains easier.
All right, last question for you. What's your favorite piece of gear? So if you could only get one per style of hunting, right? So you got your like date, hybrid, expedition. What's your one like favorite piece of gear for each one? Tough question. I figure you might have something different for each category.
Expeditions that repeat SL pad.
Okay, because of the comfort.
Comfort, man.
Well,
I have to sleep. Like, I can only go as hard as sure, 3 days is fine, but if you want to be going hard on day 6, you have to sleep and eat. So yeah, that's a big one for me. I was super happy when I found that pad. It is a tiny weight penalty, but it's still really warm and very, very, very comfortable. Okay. And it has that big sack that you fill it up with, so I don't sit on the side of the mountain after a long day and blow on the.
You talking about the one that like helps inflate it?
Yeah, it has a big sack that you catch it there in and push it down in there. That's so nice. Yep. Because I bought one of those air pump things.
Like a hand pump, or is it like the little...
Like a little battery-powered one?
Yep.
And that is the most aggravating piece of gear I've ever bought for Western hunting. Because I took that on the first time last year, and the button is exposed. And it supposedly takes a double click to turn it on, or a triple click. Well, you'll just be hiking along, and then you hear...
Yep.
And then you shake your pack around on your back a little bit, and you hear it go off, and you're like, okay, we're good. And then it turns on again, and then you turn it off. And then right before you start to take your pack off, because you're getting pretty angry at the thing for turning it on, and it'll turn back off. And it'll play mind games with you for whatever. I said, that thing's not in my pack anymore. I took it on 2 hunts, and I was done with it.
It's funny you say that, not to sideline you, but so I have the same one. I forgot the brand. It's pretty cool, and I went and did those 100 miles of hiking last year, and I used it on a few of them. And then the last trip that I had, the battery was full, but it just would not work. I just charged it the whole thing, and then I tried it a couple more times. Something was just funky or off with it. I took the battery out, whatever the case is. I get back to the truck 2 days later, works perfectly fine. And I was so frustrated with the thing. I was like, this thing is just pointless for me to take it out. Like, if I was actually taking it on like an expedition kind of a thing, I'm like, I know that putting moisture in your pad is probably not great, but I would just like, I'd rather blow in the dang thing and save a few ounces than trust the thing at this point.
If I was doing so I think, from an engineer by trade, I think the idea is amazing because it's multi-purpose too. Because if you're struggling to get a fire going, you can use that air to like really turbo a fire up. If you're making whatever, like it's a super awesome thing, especially the ones with the light in it. I always like to have extra lights because you never know when it could be your last one. But they need to make the button got like you have to move a safety thing out of the way and then push a button up. Like, it needs to not turn on when it's in your pack. Like, that's my biggest thing. Whatever. And my buddy bought a different one and thought it would do, and it was turning on the same. So
mine, you have to double tap on it to get it started. That's like the safety feature.
That's what mine does too.
Does it? Oh, see, I never had that problem, but maybe it's just where I was holding it.
Yeah, maybe you have it in the right spot, man. I put electrical tape around it, tried to like beef up the surface around it. I tried everything because I tried to make it like recessed. I put a bunch of electrical tape on there, trying to like get it to where it wouldn't hit. And it still hit, and I just it's gone. I don't use it anymore. Day hunt 6 Zulu 6s.
Okay.
I think they pack an absolute wallop for their weight. They're extremely lightweight. They're extremely small. They're single one-handed, especially when you're looking for elk and you're archery hunting and you're walking around with a bow. The fact that you have the stability of being on a tripod when you come over a ridge, I think they're amazing for that. Yeah, so that's my thing is Sig Zulu 6s for day hunting, especially if you're driving around in a truck and you're trying to glass and you're in the passenger seat. There's nothing better
That's true.
than that. So day hunting, that's my go-to. And then the hybrid would be an Argali 2P10's hard to beat. Because I don't go anywhere without trekking poles.
Yeah,
and,
that's a big one.
Yeah, and if you're fine with it, you don't even need to carry stakes. Like it's tarp. Like there's nothing lighter than that. I won't go anywhere without a saw now. I've learned my lesson for not taking a saw. So I take a saw, so you can cut stakes pretty quick if you want to take the extra.
For the wood?
Yeah, no, use the wood.
Yeah, you're cutting wood for the stakes.
Yeah, and then you don't use stakes, so you shave, another 6 ounces, 8 ounces there. Not much, but yeah, I like that Argali 2P.
All right. Kind of teeing up that same idea here. I had a few questions that I'd been asked in relation to. I would say these are more like common questions from folks reaching out. So I got a few here, but I'm going to pick one out that I think is kind of relative to this. But let's take an upgrade piece, right? Like if you could only upgrade one piece of gear for your next elk hunt, what would it be and why?
40 ATX.
Man, you went hardcore.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're using it, in which frame of hunt are you using it in between those three?
It's not for me to hunt.
Okay.
There's no hunt for myself that I would really care for it. I would love to have a Swaro ATX 95 or heck 115 even for this hunt, because I'd love to use that mountain range on the east side and glass into the west side for those guys and be able to kind of help them a little better. We're going to have good spotting scopes there.
Right.
But I would love to have the best. Because you're no less than 2.5 miles where you're starting to glass, and you're going to be looking into that 7. And with that new doubler that Swaro has, I mean, you could get up into the 125, 130 eggs, and I've heard that they actually hold decent clarity even with the doubler on there. So yeah, that'd be my one thing. And I still don't have it. I want the Stone Glacier Grumman Puffy.
Okay.
Yeah. I have the puffy vest. That's what I'll run on this one. But yeah, I want the puffy jacket still.
Can't go wrong with a good puffy, good down puffy. So.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. I appreciate all the insights here. I thought this was good, and it's a really good frame of reference for folks, as there are just different hunting styles, and there's no right or wrong to what you enjoy, right? Like, I think, in my perspective, everybody thinks the backcountry is like the cool thing, but it is grueling and tough, and you really need to be physically fit, and you got to be really mentally prepared. I think that's a huge one. Like I say this pretty consistently. If you're a client and you're listening to this, you probably have heard this, but if you're out backcountry, when your butt gets back to that truck, you're not backcountry in anything again, because you got from like the suck to the comfy, and then it's going to be very tough for you to go back to the suck. So if you really plan on staying out there, stay out there. But it's nice to have a little bit more movement sometimes too. So, again, depends on where you're at.
I think especially coming from the east, the dream is always the backcountry hunt to get the experience, right? I think you can get the full experience with the hybrid. Like you're going to get all the suck you want with a hybrid.
Yep.
And there is no reason, and I'm a person, I like tough things. Like that's just my nature. But there's no reason to make things harder than they need to be. There's
100%.
There's certain, like you draw a coveted tag in New Mexico or Arizona or something, and there's a road or in Utah even, let's say Utah, because there's roads everywhere in some of those units, and there's a road every mile. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to go backcountry hunt. Correct. Just because you want to. And the unit that we're going to be going to is the perfect tweener. There's going to be a road every 8 miles. So you can hybrid hunt that pretty well. Yeah, I think the center is 4. So you can hybrid that pretty easy to get to the furthest reaches of anything.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of my take on it. But you can also get there in a day too. Just going to be some longer days. Yeah.
Well, good deal. Sounds like you guys got a lot of fun coming and a lot of upcoming testing and playing around with gear and training and all that jazz. But
Yeah.
if folks want to keep up with what you're doing with Primal Faith, where do they find you?
It'd be primalfaith.official on Instagram.
Okay.
And then my personal name is the Primal Dad on Instagram as well. Facebook is Primal Faith, and then we have a website as well, www.primalfaith.
Very cool. All right, folks. Well, you heard it. I think this was a valuable conversation. Hope you all prep wisely for your elk hunts if you have some for this year. And again, don't go balls to the walls dropping 10 grand on gear. Be conscious of it. If you want gear lists or anything like that, we definitely can help you out. I got plenty of resource there for you. But good conversation for folks, as I know gear is just fun, but there's a lot of opportunity to make some wise decisions there. With that said, if you need any help with tag applications or hunt planning, please reach out. Head over to the website at east2westhunts.com. Hit that free consultation button, and let's chat and see if we can help you out. And otherwise, go ahead and follow along at east2west hunts on Instagram. And remember to please review, give us some 5 stars, and subscribe and like and comment on all our podcast stuff that we got going on wherever you listen to podcasts. So hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you on the next one. Remember to scout, hunt, and repeat. Thanks.